Have you ever found yourself drained after spending time with certain people? That feeling where your energy is completely sapped, your mood has plummeted, and you're left questioning your own sanity? If you're nodding along, you've likely encountered toxic people, those individuals who seem to leave a trail of emotional destruction wherever they go. I'm not talking about people who are just having a bad day or going through a rough patch. I'm talking about those who consistently undermine, manipulate, and drain the life out of every interaction. Today, we're diving into the murky waters of toxic relationships and exploring practical strategies to handle these difficult people without losing yourself in the process. This isn't about demonizing others or labeling everyone who disagrees with you as toxic. It's about recognizing genuinely harmful patterns and learning how to protect your mental health while navigating complex human interactions. The reality is that most of us don't talk openly about how to deal with toxic people. We're often taught to be polite, to keep the peace, and to give people the benefit of the doubt, all valuable approaches in many situations, but potentially devastating when dealing with truly toxic individuals. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of how to identify toxic behavior and practical tools to respond effectively. Let's start with something fundamental: recognizing when you're dealing with a toxic person. This goes beyond someone who's just difficult or different from you. Toxic people typically display consistent patterns of behavior that leave others feeling diminished, manipulated, or emotionally exhausted. One key sign is the constant drama that surrounds them. Nothing is ever simple with toxic people. Every situation becomes a crisis. Every disagreement becomes a personal attack. They often position themselves as victims in narratives where they're actually the aggressor. Pay attention to how you feel after interacting with them. Do you feel confused, drained, or like you're walking on eggshells? These are important emotional cues that something isn't right. Another hallmark of toxic behavior is the inability to take responsibility. When confronted with the consequences of their actions, toxic people will deflect, blame others, or rewrite history entirely. They might say things like, "That never happened," "You're too sensitive," or "If you hadn't done X, I wouldn't have had to do Y." This pattern of avoiding accountability makes it nearly impossible to resolve conflicts or build trust. Toxic people also tend to violate boundaries consistently. They might push you to share more than you're comfortable with, demand your time and attention regardless of your other commitments, or disregard your explicitly stated limits. This boundary-crossing behavior isn't always dramatic. It can be subtle, persistent, and disguised as care or concern. Before we go further, I want to emphasize that understanding toxic behavior isn't about judging others. It's about protecting yourself. Many toxic people are themselves wounded, operating from places of deep insecurity or past trauma. While that may explain their behavior, it doesn't excuse it, nor does it mean you have to accept it. Now, if you're finding value in this discussion about navigating difficult relationships, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button and activate the notification bell. I create content like this regularly, focusing on those challenging aspects of human psychology and relationships that we don't often talk about openly. Your subscription helps support this channel and ensures you don't miss future videos that might offer insights for your specific situation. Now, let's move on to the practical strategies for dealing with toxic people. The first and most important step is to establish and maintain clear boundaries. This doesn't mean delivering ultimatums or creating dramatic confrontations. Instead, it's about clearly communicating what behaviors you will and won't accept, and what consequences will follow if those boundaries are crossed. For example, if someone consistently belittles your achievements, a boundary might look like, "I notice that when I share good news, you often respond with criticism. In the future, if that happens, I'll end the conversation and we can talk another time." Then, and this is crucial, you must follow through. Boundaries without consequences are just suggestions, and toxic people are remarkably skilled at ignoring suggestions. The second strategy is to practice emotional detachment. This doesn't mean becoming cold or uncaring. Rather, it's about recognizing that toxic people often seek emotional reactions. When you respond with anger, hurt, or defensiveness, you're giving them exactly what they want, evidence of their power over your emotional state. Instead, Try to observe their behavior objectively, almost as if you were watching a movie. This psychological distance can help you respond strategically rather than reactively. A technique that can help with this is the gray rock method. Just as a gray rock doesn't attract much attention, you aim to become uninteresting to the toxic person by providing minimal emotional response. Keep your answers brief, avoid sharing personal information, and don't engage with provocative statements. Without the emotional fuel they're seeking, many toxic people will eventually move on to more rewarding targets. The third strategy is to build a support network. Dealing with toxic people can make you question your own perceptions and judgment, a phenomenon known as gaslighting. Having trusted friends or family members who can offer perspective and validation can be invaluable. These people can help you maintain your grip on reality when a toxic person is trying to destroy it. Sometimes, professional support from a therapist or counselor can be particularly helpful, especially if you're dealing with toxic relationships that have deep roots in your life, like family members or long-term partners. A professional can offer tools tailored to your specific situation and help you process the emotional impact of toxic interactions. The fourth strategy is perhaps the most difficult, but sometimes necessary: limiting or ending contact. In some cases, the healthiest response to toxic behavior is to remove yourself from the situation entirely. This isn't always possible or desirable, particularly with family members or coworkers, but creating distance can be a crucial form of self-protection. If you can't cut contact completely, try to limit interactions to public settings or group situations where the toxic person is less likely to engage in problematic behavior. Schedule these interactions for limited time periods and have an exit strategy prepared in advance. Remember that you don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your mental health. If someone questions why you're creating distance, a simple "I need some space right now" is sufficient. You don't need to justify your boundaries to someone who has consistently shown they don't respect them. Finally, focus on your own healing and growth. Toxic relationships can leave lasting wounds, creating patterns of self-doubt, hypervigilance, or difficulty trusting others. Addressing these effects is just as important as dealing with the toxic person themselves. Practices like mindfulness meditation, journaling, and self-compassion exercises can help you reconnect with your own thoughts and feelings after they've been dismissed or manipulated. Working on building your self-confidence and assertiveness skills can make you less vulnerable to toxic dynamics in the future. It's also worth examining why certain toxic behaviors might affect you more deeply than others. Often, the buttons that toxic people push most effectively are connected to our own insecurities or past wounds. Understanding these vulnerabilities doesn't mean the toxic behavior is your fault. It simply gives you more power to heal and protect yourself. As we wrap up, I want to emphasize that learning to deal with toxic people is a process, not a one-time solution. There will be setbacks and moments of doubt. Be patient with yourself as you practice these strategies and celebrate your progress, no matter how small it might seem. The goal isn't to become immune to toxic behavior or to never experience frustration or hurt. Instead, it's about developing the awareness and skills to protect your well-being while navigating a world that includes difficult people. With practice, you'll find yourself becoming more confident in setting boundaries, more discerning about who you allow into your inner circle, and more at peace with the reality that you can't change others. You can only change how you respond to them. I hope this video has given you some practical tools for dealing with the toxic people in your life. If you found it helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content on navigating complex human relationships and psychology. I'd also love to hear your experiences in the comments below. What strategies have worked for you when dealing with toxic people? What challenges have you faced? Your insights might help others who are struggling with similar situations. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check the description for ways to support the channel and resources for further reading on this topic. Until next time, remember that prioritizing your mental health isn't selfish. It's necessary for showing up as your best self in all your relationships.